The Prophet ﷺ said to his companions, "Who will learn from me these words, acts upon them, or teaches others who will act upon them?" Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu said, "Ana ya Rasulullah, me, O Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam." Now this hadith is classified as Hassan by Shaykh al-Bani, and you can find this hadith in Ahmad and also in Tirmidhi. The first point, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Abu Hurairah, "Ittaqil maharim," fear the prohibited things, takun a'badan nas, you will become the best of the worshippers. Now this advice of the Prophet ﷺ, we are very forgetful of these days. We always think about worship as being bringing forth good deeds, fasting, praying all throughout the night, doing dhikr, memorization of the Quran. However, we do not realize that worship is also to keep away from the sins, especially those sins that we have become desensitized to. We do not think of them as sins. We do not keep away from them. We do not make tawbah from them because we do not realize that they are actually sins. And as you know, on the day of judgment, like it is mentioned so many times in the Quran, that the good deeds and the bad deeds will be weighed. So whoever's good deeds are heavier will enter paradise and he will be the successful one. However, whoever's bad deeds are heavier, then they are going to be the ones that are going to be the losers on the day of judgment. We could make sure that our good deeds are heavy on the day of judgment in two ways. The first way is to actually increase them in the first place by doing a lot of good deeds. But also we could keep away from the sins which will make our bad deeds lighter in comparison to the good deeds. And the good deeds will be heavier. So this advice of the Prophet ﷺ, we need to really implement it in our lives so that we are successful, inshallah. The second point that the Prophet ﷺ mentions is وَرْضَ بِمَا قَسَمَ اللَّهُ لَكَ, be content or satisfied with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. تَكُنْ أَغْنَى النَّاسِ, and you will be the richest of the people. So this is a beautiful statement of the Prophet ﷺ, which clearly tells us that richness is not in acquiring wealth in this world, but richness is to be satisfied with whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. And this is a cure for the miserable person these days who always looks at the bounties of others and always thinks that he has not been given enough. And he stresses day and night trying to compete with others in this dunya. So for example, he has 1-bedroom house. This is not good enough for him. He wants 2 bedrooms. Then he wants 3 bedrooms. Then the street is no good. So he wants to move to a better street. Then he moves to a better street. Then that's not good to him. He wants to move to a better neighborhood. Then he wants to move to a better city. Then he thinks, just a minute, my friends and family and other people, they've got 2 houses. I only got 1. Or they've got a mansion. I've only got a house. So he starts to worry about that, tries to work hard, and day and night he's thinking about that. Or he or she thinks that they don't look good. They look at the commercials on the TV and they find that actually their hair color is very, very black. It shouldn't be that black. It should be light, slightly brown. Or they are told by the specialists there that one of their teeth should be at an angle of 175 degrees, but it's actually 174.5 degrees. So it's just slightly half a degree off. So they have to pay money to get that fixed. And also, their job is not right. Their friends have got a better job. The phone, or their friends got the latest phone. They've got their own phone. And then car, they've got a very bad car. They've got a Mercedes. They need to get a Porsche. And the list is endless. And they keep competing again and again for this dunya, which actually is not equal to the mosquitoes wing in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should always look at those people who are being given less than us, not those people who are being given more than us. If you got a house, you got a 1-bedroom house at least, whereas there's other people who got no shelter above their heads. They got no money, they got no food, they got no phones, they got nothing. Or you've been blessed with a lot of things if you really think about it. Remember, you will not die until you acquired all your rizq. So follow this beautiful advice of the Prophet ﷺ, and you will certainly become the richest of the people, richer than the most beautiful, famous and wealthiest person in the world. Many who have committed suicide in this world because of depression. He ﷺ says in his third advice, وَأَحْسِنْ إِلَى جَارِكَ, and be good to your neighbor, تَكُنْ مُؤْمِنًا, and you will be a true believer. Now how many of us are guilty of this? We abuse them, we disturb them, we hate them, and we keep our distances away from them. How many of us don't even actually know who our neighbors are. We don't know their names, we don't know nothing about them. Sufficient is the hadith in Muslim when the Prophet ﷺ said 3 times, he said, by Allah, he is not a believer. He repeated this 3 times. When he was asked, who is that? He replied, the one whose neighbor is not safe from his evil. And there are many other hadith, but this is sufficient for us. Change now by always smiling to them, help them, attend to their needs, give them gifts, invite them to your house, and so on. And this is also for non-Muslims as well, it's not just for Muslims. The Prophet ﷺ continues in his 4th advice by saying, وَأَحِبَّ لِلنَّاسِ, and love for people, مَا تُحِبُّ لِنَفْسِكَ, what you love for yourself. تَكُنْ مُسْلِمًا, and you will be a perfect Muslim. Now, many of us know this concept very well. However, we think we are following this in our lives, but actually, this concept is very difficult to implement, and it requires a lot of hard work and purification of the heart to achieve it properly. For example, you must share all goodness that you find with others from the affairs of this world and the hereafter. So for example, sharing Islamic knowledge with them so that they can also increase in their worship and also increase their chances of going to paradise. When you give them advice, make sure you give them perfect, good, sincere advice. If you see them making mistakes, you exhaust all efforts to rectify their mistakes, rather than exploiting them or making yourself feel better by looking at their sins. It also means that we do not envy others and wish them to lose something good that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed them with. Or we feel happy when an affliction or hardship befalls them. Rather, when something bad befalls them, we feel as if it actually happened to us. In the final advice, the Prophet ﷺ says, وَلَا تُكْثِرِ الضَّحِكِ, do not laugh too much, do not go overboard in laughing. فَإِنَّ كَثْرَةَ الضَّحِكِ, for verily excessive laughter تُمِيتُ الْقَلْبِ, kills the heart. Excessive laughter kills the heart. Now unfortunately you will see a lot of people these days, they get together not to remind each other of the hereafter, but rather they crack jokes and they make everybody laugh and they narrate stories, they pick mistakes in people. Their whole concept is just to have a laughing session. And anybody who reminds them of the hereafter, or Allah's deen, or Quran, or Hadith, they find them boring and miserable. And unfortunately even the Muslim speakers have actually fallen into this trap. And nowadays people love them because they constantly crack the joke and they actually make the speech very entertaining with stories and jokes, and it's all an entertainment these days. Remember, this doesn't mean that we should stop smiling and laughing from now on. It's excessive laughing that we are talking about here. In moderation, there is no problem. So remember, next time you look at your hand, try to remember these 5 points, count them and implement them in your life. So inshallah you will be successful in this life and also in the hereafter.
أشهد أن لا